Run! Go! Get to the Jibber Jabber!
And here we are, guys. It's the premiere of the Jibber Jabber podcast on YouTube. It feels good to be back to our normal show. And you guys might have just seen the high time stuff we've done. If you've not, go back and check it out. J-Mac, how's it feel to be seen on the show now?
Ugly bastard. No, it's actually, I'm very excited about this new venture. We've obviously been doing the audio stuff for a long time now. A wee bit of video, but the fact that we're going at it kind of full hog is pretty exciting.
You look like you've just came out the bath.
Well, funnily enough, I've got hair like fucking Lloyd Christmas. So it's the reason I'm wearing this monstrosity. I'm not normally a hat guy, Kev. I think that's something we've established before. Normally you're the guy that likes to cover up his baldy bit. Look at it. It's getting. Are you using four hymns?
What's that? Is that something that you sing in a church? Yeah, I've been singing four hymns. Please bring my hair back. Fucking Lord works in mysterious ways, right?
I like no existing.
We're gone there already, man. We just fucking went live.
Far too early.
You've just got us kicked off YouTube. Stop saying that guy does. Well, mate, think about it. See if YouTube was to come after us and be like, right, we're taking you off the platform. How? Because you said Jesus doesn't exist. Prove he does. You're off. You're off.
That's right. YouTube can just do that though. It's like unless you've got a legal team behind you to fight it, they will just boot you off.
So that's a great way to start the show.
Absolutely. And we're leaving it in. Hi YouTube, thanks for having
us. Thanks YouTube for allowing us to host this very special one and only episode. So for those of you that have never listened to our show, we talk about movies, TV series, paranormal, just all the crazy stuff that you guys might find interesting or not.
Like as soon as you said paranormal, you started going into a trance. It's like paranormal.
Oh!
Oh! Inside joke now.
No. So you can find like 2 years of previous work we've done on the Jibber Jabber podcast archives, which you can find everything at jibberjabberpodcast.com. So go ahead and check out our old stuff, or just scrap that and pretend this is episode 1. So coming up on this show. Oh, sorry, you were going to say something, Jamie?
Yeah, just before we start, I wanted to actually say thank you to you, Kevin, for actually bringing me on this wee adventure because it's something I would never have thought to do myself. I've been having a fucking blast so far, mate, and this is just another step. And it's been real, man.
It is. It's real as fuck. The next step from this, just so you all know, is we've gone from audio for 2 years. We'll probably do about a year of this, and then we'll probably be on like STV within the next year. Probably.
That's the plan. They're going to fucking love us.
Nah, fuck that shit. This is where it's going down. This is our own platform. So yeah, coming up on this show, we've got topic of the week, which is next, and we've got a wee bit of marketplace madness, is where J-Mac sends me texts all the time. It's screenshots of someone's marketplace adverts. But we'll get into that. I'm not going to blow the lid on that. But then we also have the main topic, which is movies that are made today and what we don't like about them. The problem with movies that are made today. And then we're going to top that off with movie Mouthful. And if anybody's seen the teaser for this episode, will have seen that J-Mac threw something in his mouth, and the concept is one of us eats and one of us asks a question, and while we've full mouthful, we talk, kind of like that time where you're in the restaurant and a waiter walks past and goes, "Your food all right?" as you take a big gulp and you're like, and they're like, cool.
And then they walk away and you go, "That's just fucking rotten, by the
way." Hi, pretty much. Everyone, or it's like this, right? Which is a typical with the parents usually. Oh, this burger's way too cold now. Look at the lettuce, man. That's been out for days. My chips are soggy as fuck. Somebody walks by. Everything all right for you? Oh, hi, perfect. Hi.
Mate, my crazy ex-girlfriend, she did not pull any punches with that stuff. I remember one time we were sitting in a Chinese restaurant in Edinburgh. I can't remember what it was called, and she'd ordered monkfish, right? Apparently it's something she would normally enjoy. I don't know, she's just fucking nuts. Anyway, she it was disgusting, right? And she made it very clear that it was disgusting. After I'd scranned mine, right? And the waiter comes over and he's like, "Is everything okay with your meal?" I nearly did a very racist accent there, I'm sorry. So, "Is everything okay with your meal?" And she went, "No, it's absolutely disgusting." And then the waiter said, "Do you want to take it away or?" She's like, "No, I want you to fucking take it away."
Monkfish.
She never said that. She was never that funny.
Is that a religious fish?
It's a fish with a baldy bit and a fucking robe. It's a bit like you in a fucking dressing gown.
Mate, you're the one in the fucking dressing gown, if that's what that is.
This is a denim jacket. This is for back in the day. This is I fit it again, or it fits me again. I can actually close it. Look at this.
For those of you who don't know that are listening to this. Formerly fat. For anybody listening, this is why you guys got to go to YouTube and type Jibber Jabber Podcast, because you can see what's going on in this episode. You can now see it. So head to Jibber Jabber Podcast on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, and J Mac will send you a t-shirt or a denim jacket. mate. Before we get into our next segment, right?
No. I don't think I want to know what you're going to say.
No. Like, so the episode that we done previously about it's very actually well received, but the one we done with Bruce and what was his name? Bruce and John Edmonds, the alien one where we done, right? That's been so well received that people keep saying it was such a great interview, right? And I think it was basically because we didn't bastardize him. We brought him on and we talked to him like a human being. We treated him with respect, and he got a chance to talk without being taken the piss out. You will be able to. You guys can go back and check that video out. It should only be a couple below this one, but in that episode I actually said, if you can find the moment where Jordan farts and timestamp it in the comments and then hashtag JibJab15, that you would send them a t-shirt. And somebody fucking commented and was like, JibJab15 with a timestamp, and at this point I'm like, what? And I click on it and it's like I was like, yeah.
You only heard it so well because you amplified it exponentially. So what you heard when I did it was this, and then what came out in the episode was
like the recent one, like the recent episode. Justin Molotnikov.
I kept saying his name. I don't know why. It's just it rolls off the tongue. It's such a cool name. It just sounds like a cool guy, which he was, by the way.
Absolutely.
It was a great interview we had with him. So it's a shame that it wasn't on video, you know, which everything is going to be from now on.
Absolutely. So that's another reason for you to hit that subscribe button. So it is now time for.
You'll need to tell me where to point for subscribe.
Oh, don't worry. I'll just put it right over your face.
I know it's just appeared on my face right now as well.
Might have. So it's time for
topics.
So today's topics of the week are the first one. We'll start with the first one. So
that's a good idea.
Anne Hathaway apologizes to the disabled community because her character in the new remake of Witches has like 3 fingers.
I don't even know where to start with this one, to be honest. I mean, do you know, the whole thing that annoys me about celebrities in particular apologizing for things that they've done and said is that it's never genuine, right? They're only doing it so they can kind of save face. But if think about it though, when you were a kid, right? Just say you and your sister were having an argument. I don't know how well you got on with your sister when you were kids.
Oh, we argued, we fought.
Right. Just say you're having an argument, then you decide to, I don't know, stab her in the leg with a pencil, right?
A dart. It was a dart.
Right. Okay. For me, it was a pencil. We're quite stabby. It's stabbing the leg with a pencil. There's tears. There's everything. It's stuff flying all over the place. And then the mum comes in. She's like, What happened? Jordan stabbed me in the leg with a pencil. Jordan, apologise to your sister. Sorry. It's the same thing. And when you're told to apologise for something, it's not genuine. And also, why should you have to apologise?
Exactly. Should it really be genuine? I mean, how can you create a piece of work that doesn't relate to something? Do you know what I mean? And how can you?
That's true. You're always going to offend somebody.
It's like someone losing a nose, right? Oh no, my nose was infected and I lost this part of my nose. I'm now offended that Voldemort has no nose.
I know. I mean, it's like cutting your nose off to spite your face.
Exactly. I think
this is the first time I've worn a cap, and I keep doing this. I keep catching myself doing this. Right? Sorry for this. It'll stop next year. Next week, no hat. Right, it's gone. So, yeah, I think the apologising for things that you shouldn't really have to apologise for. I don't know if it's a power play. You know, like people.
Think about this, right? Think of this. See if you wrote a script and you created a movie, and you're like, right, Kevin, I want you to play this part, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'll play this part, and then I play the part that you've written, and people are pissed off at me. Motherfucker, this was him that wrote it. Fucking take it up with him.
And I think what she said was, I should have chosen my roles more carefully. Something along those lines. It's like, come on. I mean, it's that essentially. You know, it's not like it's taking the piss out of disabled people. It's taking the piss out of witches, which don't exist. Taking the piss out of someone that doesn't. Well, sorry, witches exist. Or they think they do. They're actually just fucking lonely people. I think the apologising for playing quote a disabled person. I don't know how that can be classed.
Also, how many disabled people have you met with 3 fingers? I've met non-disabled people with 3 fingers or less, but I've never met.
My dad's got fucking 4.5 fingers. In
I remember that.
I wouldn't call him disabled. But no, that's besides the point. I think the point is when you're apologising for something that, in all honesty, it's innocent. You know, it's innocent. It's a kid's film. The witches happen to have 3 fingers. It's not like they're. In fact, is there even a moment in that movie where anybody actually takes the piss out of the witches for having 3 fingers? No. It's just part of what they are and who they are. Maybe what they are was a fucking poor choice of words. But I don't know. I think we're really halfway down a really slippery slope right now with this apologising cancel culture, and it's just getting ridiculous. I mean, it kind of takes us on neatly to the next topic. Don't know if you're ready to move on.
Exactly.
If you've got more to say on this one.
I don't know. I was just about to say though, like in regards to cancel culture, it's actually a piss take. Like who J-Mac, if you spit on a child, right, in your own personal time, if you're out walking your dog and you spit on a child, right, do they expect these people who see you do it to go into your place of work and be like, fire him, he spat on a child? Like, what the fuck does that have to do with where you work? I think that the whole, like, let's stop this person being able to make money because they done something or said something that, by the way, guess what? We're all human. Nobody's perfect. Nobody does go through their life without making any hiccups, mistakes. And what's worse is see when it's something like what Anne Hathaway's getting, what she got shit for.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it about something that actually is relevant, not well, there are some disabled people with 3 fingers. That's bullshit. Fuck off, man. Fuck off.
No, I don't. The thing is, just to clarify, the Jibber Jabber podcast in no way condones spitting on children
or 3-fingered people.
There's a face you can reuse.
Nah, of course. There's nothing wrong with people with 3 fingers. Most of them aren't disabled.
Well, they've got 2 fingers missing.
No, my point is
there's nothing wrong with them. She wouldn't have had to apologise.
What I mean is, usually
cancelled.
Usually, people with 3 fingers, right, are people that lost them in some sort of accident. Baby Yoda.
Right. You're going to need to explain the Baby Yoda thing to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't actually know what the controversy is. I did look up something about Gina Carano.
Yeah. Well, I'll kind of
but I
walk you
don't
through
know.
it, right?
Yeah, please.
So our friend Misty Rosas, who was on this Jibber Jabber podcast, you can find her in the archives. Misty Rosas talks about
Hi,
the
Misty.
Mandalorian. Misty is a trooper. She's unbelievably talented.
Stormtrooper.
No, she's not.
I know.
She was always on the good side. Well, she's still working with Disney, and she made another appearance in The Mandalorian. So her character is her character's a frog, right? She's like a frog. No, she's a frog, and she's traveling from. Basically, the Mandalorian has to guide her, and it's like a wee Bacta tank with eggs in it, and these are like maybe 30 eggs in here. And she like hacks this robot so she can communicate with Pedro Pascal, the Mandalorian. And she's like, please, you must take me from this planet to that planet because these are the last of my species, these eggs, right? Very last of my species. So my husband's waiting for me. If I can't get there safely, my species is done. All right, cool. So Mandalorian agrees. We're going to go there. I'll take you there. While they're in the ship, Baby Yoda's like eating them like they're pickled eggs. because Yoda, Baby Yoda, who's not actually called Yoda, it's just the child, right? But people call it Baby Yoda, so we'll go with Baby Yoda. It's a child. It's 50 years old, but it doesn't age like humans. It's still a baby, right? And one thing about babies is they don't understand. They take things and put it in the mouth. They don't understand that this is a species that is going extinct. Also, if you skip back to the first season, right, the child, Baby Yoda, eats a frog, right? So that child is quite prone to eating frogs and frog eggs because it's what it eats.
Yeah.
It doesn't think about it, right? So the Mandalorian's like, hey, leave them. Like, didn't let Misty see you've just tanned two of your kids, right?
Just tanned two of your kids.
Right. So people are all up in arms. Oh, Baby Yoda eating someone's kids. That's distasteful because that's a species. That's genocide. Oh, fuck off, man.
Are you being serious?
Genuinely, like this was distasteful, Disney. Right now, can I just back that up with this? In the next episode, they get to that planet, right? And Misty is with Baby Yoda and teaching her, hey, look, teaching him because I think it's a male, teaching the child, look, you got to be nice with these things. And a few of them hatch into wee frogs. Instead of eating it, Baby Yoda's sitting playing with it, right? So you're seeing that nurturing side of Misty with Baby Yoda and actually interacting and learning. It's learning like what children do. Don't put it in your mouth. Don't eat it, even if it tastes great, even if it's what you eat. If that's the stuff you eat, it's learning.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
and then Misty's like, right, I need to take them away now because that's me going. And wee Baby Yoda's like, oh, I liked it now. I'm no eating.
That's him a fucking vegan now, isn't
it? But do you get me, right? So
yeah.
But people are up in arms.
It's quite a sweet little story, actually.
Aye, mate, watch Mandalorian. It's fucking amazing, actually amazing. But yeah, that's so.
I've seen 3 episodes, I think.
So there's that, and people are, oh, Baby Yoda, distasteful. So we need to get Baby Yoda off the show. Petition. Let's get Baby Yoda off the show. Fuck off, man. It's a story.
Do you remember when people could just make programs and it did not matter a fuck what people thought? It was up to the people making the programs what they put in it. Sorry, to a certain extent, it's obviously up to the networks whether or not they're willing to give these things a platform. You know. Now, when it gets to the point where, I mean, we're at the point now where somebody will be announced to play a part in a movie, and because idiots have got a voice on Twitter, that can change that decision, and that's not right. The decision gets made by the people who know or certainly pretend to know what they're doing. And the fact that Fanny Boz McGee that's sitting in his mum's basement at the age of 42 isn't happy about it is now actually having an effect on how TV shows and movies are made. It's not right. I mean, when they announced that Robert Pattinson's going to be the new Batman, I mean, I sat back in my chair and I was like, well, are you fucking joking? Did I go on Facebook about it? No. Did I see the trailer for it? Aye. Did I think it was wrong? Yes.
Did you sign a petition?
No, I didn't sign a petition. I don't sign petitions for things that matter. Petitions are a waste of time.
Aye.
So get this to 100,000. I get this to 100,000 signatures so that the government can consider debating it. It's like, right, I've considered it. No.
Well, here's the thing. So Gina Carano, who ex-MMA fighter, she plays a character in Mandalorian, really a good character, a very strong female type, and
Oh, good.
no, she plays it really well. She plays it well.
I've seen her in it.
She's class. She's really good. So she, in her personal time, nothing relating to Mandalorian, and this is something we'll not really go into, but the whole Trump, the election and how Trump's saying, this was clearly fraud. Let's get a recount. She had one thing to say about it, and now there was a petition to have her removed from the show because of that. So because I don't like what she's saying about something that she's got an opinion on, we're now going to get her off the Mandalorian because that will show her. And you know what the worst part is? I just read an article yesterday saying that Disney are looking at ways to write her out of the show.
That's not right, man. I mean, I read the tweet. I did read the tweet, and it actually doesn't even say in it that it's Trump that she supports.
Right.
The content of it, you can probably surmise that she's on the conservative side, and I think she is a conservative. So she would be on the kind of Republican end of the scale, right? Now, the problem I've got is that if you actually read through the tweet, there's nothing that says "Make America Great Again," or there's no Trumpisms. There's no Trumpian dialogue. I mean, it's all. It's just a comment saying we need to fix this broken election system, which there is nothing wrong with saying that. If you believe it's broken, you believe it's broken, and to be honest, it looks like it is. Then another one that they were up in arms about was something to do with sorry if I've offended people without arms, right? Another one that people are up in arms about was a tweet they should put out about, it was something to do with if you can't see past a mask, you can't see a soul or something like that. That was, and then all of a sudden she's an anti-masker, and
context.
It's
right?
all context. Context is very important. It's a good way not to get banned off Facebook.
But clickbait avoids any kind of context, and that's the sad reality. Is
the problem is that when you're reading text, that there is no context. There's no social cues. You can't see mannerisms. So people, like, I could say, like, I'm going to swear here, right? But there's two ways that you can swear at somebody. You can say, the sentence I'm going to use is "fuck you, you can," right? Or let's go with something else. You can
no, just go with it. Just go with it.
Say, "Fuck you, you can," right? You've got "fuck you, you can," and you've got "fuck you, you can." That's two different things completely, using the same words that you can only get the context in when you're looking at somebody and talking to them.
Yeah.
You can't get these from messages written on a digital platform. It's nonsense. I remember even like having text message arguments with people that I know because it's something that was misconstrued. And it's people putting words in other people's mouths.
Yeah. I think sometimes I'll say to myself something, I'll write a message and I'll go to say something and I think, that sounds cheeky, but I don't mean it to sound cheeky. How do I say it in another way? You usually put something like lol or a happy face or something like that to kind of...
So listen, I know I said I hate you and you smell, but I didn't mean it like that.
Didn't mean it, eh?
I'll get me a bag of chips here.
So it is. I think it's all down to context. So I would say a good fuck you to cancel culture. I think cancel culture's bullshit unless it's something...
That's when he's cancelled. Cancel culture itself needs cancelled.
Let's get a petition going, right? Let's cancel.
Aye, let's get a petition that I'll not even sign.
Exactly. So aye, let's fuck that shit.
No, it's utter nonsense and it has to be stopped.
Yes. So let's cancel culture.
Actually, for anybody watching, put in the comments anytime that you've sent a message or a tweet that's been misconstrued and the kind of backlash you've got from it. That could be a fun conversation.
That will be, and we can read some of them out here on the show.
That we can.
So we're going to talk a little bit now about, I mean, this is Jibber Jabber podcast where we talk primarily about movies and TV shows and stuff, unless it's like a specific episode about a specific subject. So what J-Mac and I like to do is kind of catch up on movies that we've been watching, and you guys also let us know in the comments what you've been watching, and also tell us what you think of what we've been watching. So J-Mac, I'll let you kick off with the first thing you've been watching.
Okay, now just to kind of give us some context, I've actually kind of been struggling to find anything new to watch because the pool of new properties is just so shallow now because of obviously the current situation. So I've been revisiting old things that I know I like. So one of the first ones that comes to mind was The Thing from 1981, 2? I can't even
John
remember.
Carpenter.
Yeah, John Carpenter's The Thing, not the original one for the 50s, right? We're talking about John Carpenter's The Thing. Now, that film is it's hardly ever really talked about in the kind of public sphere, you know. I mean, you can, if you go to other kind of movie review channels and stuff like that, you'll see stuff about The Thing quite often, but nobody ever talks about it in general. I can't remember last time somebody said to me, "Hey, have you seen The Thing?" It's been so long, but I sat and watched it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I hadn't seen it for maybe 10 years, and you know, it holds up. There's a couple of kind of dodgy effects in it, and there's also a lot of practical effects, but the practical effects, even though you can tell they're fake, you appreciate it so much because something we might talk about later. So The Thing was one thing that I watched.
I think the first time I seen The Thing, I was in high school, and somebody brought the tape, the old VHS, into school and was like, "You ever seen this?" I think it was The Thing and Meet the Applegates. Did you ever see Meet the Applegates?
No, I didn't.
Check it out, man. It's one where what's his face in it. I'll put a picture of his face below.
This is a movie podcast. I couldn't remember the year The Thing was made in, and you've just forgot an actor's name.
Man.
We're off to an absolute flyer.
I mean, there's a lot of pressure on our shoulders here. This is the first time doing the whole video thing, mate.
Yeah, it is.
Nah, but the guy was in one of the recent Stranger Things. He was in the recent series of Stranger Things. But I got The Thing on videotape and I watched it for the first time and I was like, that's pretty good. I like The Thing. I definitely own it on DVD and the remake. I don't think I watched the remake. I've still to watch it, but I've got it on DVD.
It's actually a prequel.
Is it a prequel? I thought it was a remake.
It's a prequel and it's not very good. It's all right. It's all right. It's a horror film and it's got over 5 on IMDb, so yeah, I would give it a chance.
The thing I actually watched recently, you like that there. I actually watched our most up-to-date movie, Fat Man, with Mel Gibson.
Yeah, where he plays Santa Claus.
Aye, it's a bit of a weird one. Have you seen it?
No.
Right, I'll give you just, I'm not going to spoil it, right? I'm not going to spoil it, right? But it's kind of like, imagine Santa if he was to kind of be a legit Santa. So he doesn't really fly, or at least they don't tell you how he gets around the world. But he's kind of like this. Oh. And
that's what I'd be like if I had 364 days off a year.
He doesn't. He gets none of those days off.
Oh, okay.
He works all around, as you'll see. But it's basically the whole tale of Santa Claus. But there's a wee dick in it, right? A wee boy who is rich, obviously. His dad doesn't give a fuck, and he's like living with his granny. But anybody that pisses him off, he's just like, fuck it, let's get them killed. So he puts a hit out on Santa Claus, and it becomes a bit of an action movie. One thing I'll say about it, pardon me. One thing I'll say about it is that it was good to watch, but I was let down by the end, and I thought, fucking no, the ending was just shite.
Mm-hmm.
So,
it's quite a common trope these days.
I mean, how hard is it to get an ending right? Probably harder than you think, right?
I mean, you're wrapping up a story. I mean, endings are notoriously the hardest thing to do. Just ask Stephen King. Fuck me, that guy's had some shitty endings. It's great stories, but then it gets to the end, and I don't know. It's almost like, I don't know. It's like he gets a takeaway delivered or something, and he's like, "Oh fuck it, done." So yeah, it's a common issue. Now just kind of moving on from the thing, the revisiting classics. I watched The Shining, and again, it's one of my favorites. I don't know if it's in my top 10 movies of all time, but it's certainly in my top 10 movies in that genre. Right now, the acting, right? This is a funny thing about The Shining. Sometimes you watch it and go, the acting in this is shite. Other times you watch it and go, the acting in this is actually really good. And you kind of find yourself torn between what you actually think about it. I mean,
I always thought, even as a child, I always thought that the female actress she wasn't that easy on the eye. She's got a face like a cheese grater.
She's no handsome. Do you know what she looks like?
No offense, like someone can say it about me. It's fine.
She looks like she went outside in Total Recall.
No, when I'm drinking.
That's what she. It looks like her eyes are going to fall out her head for most of the film.
I bet you now if you Google her, she probably looks like.
I mean, do you know what she looks like? She looks like. I don't remember the bit in Jurassic Park when Jeff Goldblum walks up to a big pile of shit and says, "That is one big pile of shit." That's what she looks like. She's horrendous looking, man.
Why? What do you think the thought process was in hiring a manta? Oh no, Kev. Why do you think she was hired for that spot? Do you think they were like? Do you think it was in the script? Hey, look, she can't really be that easy on the eye.
I think she has to look. She has to seem to be somebody that's a bit kind of downtrodden, you know, somebody that's not had a particularly easy time of it. Now the character in the film is very different from the character in the book. And in the book, she's beautiful. She's got blonde hair. Even Jack is very different in the book. He actually it's the biggest issue that Stephen King had with the Kubrick version of the book is the fact that Jack Nicholson looked fucking mental anyway. In the book, Jack Torrance starts as a very kind of normal guy and gradually descends into madness. Well, it's actually quite a quick process in the just with the size of it. It's not a huge book, but Jack Nicholson, right at the start of the film, you can tell he's got a fucking mean streak in him. Right now, it's not right away, but I think it's in like the third scene, because you've got the interview. It starts off with him getting the interview for the job at the Overlook Hotel, and then it moves on. It goes back to the house and it shows you his wife and kid, and then it's the car journey to the hotel with the three of them, and you can just tell that he fucking hates them.
Aye,
and it's kind of ripping at him, and it was. I do see that as a bit of an issue with the film because you're not really surprised by the fact he goes mental. If you watch the TV miniseries that they did, which is actually pretty terrible, it's not scary. It's just not a scary movie series at all. But if you look at that, it does start. It is just a normal guy. It could be anybody's dad, and then by the end of it, he's fucking batshit. So I can see why I had issues with it. But as a film, it's so well shot. It's so atmospheric. It's scary without having jump scares everywhere. It's thought provoking. It's also, it kind of leaves you not on a cliffhanger, but at the end of the film is still getting talked about today as to what it actually means. So I love something like that. Sometimes I hate it.
The sequel to that, Doctor Sleep, was, I thought, really, really good.
I mean, the fact that we know one of the guys in it just makes it all the better.
Who do we ken in it?
Shout out to Scott McInnes. There's a character in this that looks a lot like somebody we know. It's actually fucking uncanny. So Doctor Sleep. What was your thoughts on that?
I really liked it, and what I liked about it as well is they weren't afraid to kill a child to kind of drive home a point.
That's really morbid.
But the thing is, though, they didn't care. They're there to take the life force what their subject is, regardless of what it is. It's the whole hunter and the prey thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's not
yeah,
personal, but here we need what you got, so we're taking it. And that,
yeah.
they spared no punches on that. They're like, we're going to do it, and that's it.
Yeah. I
Good to
mean,
them.
they are definitely bad guys, like, and you want them to get their comeuppance. And I mean, what I would say is that the kind of main bad person, the female, is beautiful. She's see, I like that. I like fancying the bad the bad guy. Well, not the bad guy. Sorry. I like fancying the bad person. I don't know why, but she's I can't remember her fucking name. She's got a funny name. It's like I don't know if it's Isla or Aisla or something like that. She's got a funny wee name, but she was in the Mission Impossible movies as well.
Yeah.
Really kind of piercing eyes, sharp features. She's a really beautiful woman, but she's pretty terrifying in that. Like, and yeah, all in all, a really well-made film that's completely different for the original, but it's a clear sequel. Like, it's obvious that it's a sequel and it follows completely from it, but it's such a different film to the original Shining.
Yeah, I really liked it. I thought, as far as sequels go, because you get sequels, you get movies that, pardon me, are from yesteryear, and they wait till now to do a prequel or sequel. Some can actually be really good, and this kind of goes along with that trend of really good stuff, like Halloween. Halloween doing their direct sequel after 20 odd years. 30 odd years. Aye, because it was 80.
Oh no. So just following on for the original one, it was that was 40 years before.
40 years, that's fucking mad. But and I enjoyed it, so I was quite happy with that. I actually watched something on your recommendation, which was Ouija, Origin of Evil.
Ouija.
Ouija.
That'll be Ouija or Ouija.
Ouija. Origin of Evil, which stars Henry Thomas and the other lassie from Haunting of Hill House. Now check this out, right? This was the first time the director of Haunting of Hill House had worked with those two. So this was pre-Haunting of Hill House, and he worked with them on that sequel to Ouija. And from that, him and the musical director then went on to make Haunting of Hill House. So that's where it actually began. So if you like Haunting of Hill House or Haunting of Bly Manor, go back and watch Ouija 2, Origin of Evil, because that's actually where it begins. Because even listening to the music, you're like, wait a minute, I know that music, everything from the music is all the same. And that's where the Henry Thomas kind of relation came in. For me, Origin of Evil was good up until the end.
See, I'm the opposite on it, because I think that the last act, the last third of the movie, for me, was properly fucking scary. That was the stuff that was scary to me. I did have a couple of issues with it, a bit too CGI at times, but it's like this film knew everything that creeps me out, and it just hit me. Like, I remember, like, even going to bed that night when I was walking up the stairs, like I could feel my body doing that thing where your arse tries to run in front of you. So you just go, that kind of horrible feeling that something's coming up behind the stairs. I found it really creepy. And what was your issue with the end? Without spoilers.
I don't know. I felt that, like, there was a great pace of telling the story, and then it was just like, boom, end. I'm like, I felt that there was still more to discover.
Well, there might well be. I mean,
it's not so much that I hated how it ended. I'm all for that kind of ending, right? Because bad guys sometimes have to win as well, right?
Yeah.
Can't have a bad guy going doing every time. Spoiler alert.
That's right, Jack. In this world, the bad guys can win. I shall miss you, Jack.
I've killed a man, and I did it on purpose.
It's still one of my favourites. Again, totally panned by the critics, but fucking loved it.
He's a legend.
Ouija Origin of Evil is something you should watch, even if you hated the first Ouija film, because the first one is a steaming hot pile of shit. It was just awful, but this one, they got it right. I think they were fixing mistakes. They
basically brought in the right people to do it, and to me, it's a standalone movie. I don't think it needed to be a sequel to that. It's not like they're carrying on, the success of the first one. They should have just made a separate movie.
I seen a couple of references, and obviously the fact that a Ouija board is a major part of it, but it seems to be a major part of a lot of films, including Ouija Shark, which is just, I mean, that is Oscar-worthy stuff.
Mate,
Like,
if you haven't, if you've not checked it out.
when I was telling a guy at my work about it, like I was explaining this film, Ouija Shark, and I was talking away, and he's like, "That sounds shite, man. That sounds shite." I was like, "It's shite, but that's what's good about it. It's so bad. It's so terrible that it's actually hilarious." And then he says, "So what is it, like a shark for Glasgow?"
Ouija Shark.
He was being serious. I was like, "No, Ouija, like Ouija board. All right."
Oh, man. It's something else. Do you know what? We will need to make a movie that bad at some point, like deliberately a rotten stinker of a movie.
Remember when Adam Sandler said he was going to make a rotten film if he didn't get an Oscar for Uncut Gems?
Yes.
Hubie's Halloween.
It wasn't that, mate. That's not a rotten film. That was class. Have you seen it?
I couldn't. I tried. You know what I hated about it? I hated the fact that he went back to that stupid voice that he used to do in the fucking...
Hey, did you watch Uncut Gems?
I watched Uncut Gems. It's probably the most stressful thing I've ever been through in my life.
Hey, he's quite stressful, and then at the end he just gets shot in the pus, and you're like, oh.
Spoiler alert.
But here's the thing: it's the way he lies after he's been shot through, like the face. He's like that. Just like
it's not funny. See, that was the thing about that film. Is it wasn't funny. It was like a 2 hour fucking. It was a 2 hour heart attack. That's what that film was, and I'm glad I've seen it, but I'll never watch it again.
It always felt like he was under some sort of pressure.
He kept putting himself in situations. Like every time he would make a decision, you're sitting there going, "What the fuck are you doing?"
I know.
It was such a stressful film to watch. The guy that made that, the guy that wrote it and directed it, also made another film with Robert Pattinson. And the name of it escapes me, but Robert Pattinson plays a crook. He's like a bank robber, and he's got I think he's got a mentally disabled brother, and he ends up kind of bringing him in and getting him in trouble. And again, it's like every decision he makes, you're just going, "Oh no, stop it, man!" It makes me wonder what kind of life the director had.
Yeah.
Because it seems he writes stress so fucking well, but it's not an enjoyable experience to watch these films.
Well, one that was an enjoyable experience for myself recently, first time I've ever watched it, was Ninja Assassin. Ninja Assassin.
That was such good fun, man. What did you think?
I thought it was class. Because I put it on and I was like, right, it's been. And here's something for you, by the way. They don't make martial art movies like they used to at all. They don't even attempt it anymore, do they? Really?
No. But again,
it's all just action movies.
Yeah.
There's none of that like blood sport kind of fucking. They're really not a good one. Not one that's made with taste. Right?
No.
But Ninja Assassin for me was fun. It's basically when that guy's like, "Oh no, I've seen this before," and I was like, "Oh," and the guy's head just goes whoosh, and falls to bits. I was like, "Yes, man!" I loved it. The gore, the fun. It almost is like, imagine. This is how I would describe it to someone. Imagine Kill Bill, but not as good as Kill Bill, but still fun. That's Ninja Assassin.
That's probably it's quite a good kind of description of it. I mean, I've not seen it since it was new. I seen it when it first came out, and I just remember being blown away by the kind of hyper violence of it. but it's not disturbing violence. You just sit watching it going, you know, it's just crazy violence. But it's just like a good old fashioned crazy, like it's like an old. It's almost like an old samurai film or something like that. It's got that kind of crazy gore about it. It was actually, it was Stephen McCall that had recommended a film to us a while ago, which was.
Did you watch it?
I did watch it, and it's a weird one because it's both shite and amazing at the same time. But the Shogun Assassin. That's what it's called. Assassin, yeah. Shogun Assassin, and I think he described it. So he told us at the time that it was an amalgamation of like 2 or 3 different movies that was put into one and cut up. But it was like it had some crazy violence in it, and this came out in like 1980 or something. So again, what makes it fun is the fact that it's all practical effects and there's just blood spurting fucking everywhere. But when they start bringing in kind of more modern effects where it just makes it even more fun with films like that if it's done right.
Exactly. Big thumbs up for Ninja Assassin. So for all you guys listening at home and all you guys watching at home, let us know what you've been watching in the comments section, and we might just pick what you've been watching and read out what you had to say on next week's episode, and we'll talk about it. And maybe you could recommend some good movies for us to watch, and we'll recommend some good movies for you to watch. But now it's time for Marketplace Madness with J-Mac.
Here we go. Right now, for the Facebook Marketplace, and in fact, let's put them all together here. Things like Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree, Spock, online selling, Spock. Who the fuck uses Spock?
I've used it a few times for Game Boy games.
Really?
100%. And you know what? I've never been bumped off on it.
All right, let's take Spock off the list then. Anyway, so what you've got there is a platform for people to sell stuff that they no longer want, need, require, or no longer can use for whatever reason.
They've only got 3 fingers.
That's one of them. Aye. So, I've got a Nintendo 64, but I can't play it anymore. So how? Because it's the most awkward control pad in history. Control pad in history, and I've only got 3 fingers and no toes. So, aye. First of all, the people that sell stuff on there, I mean, the stupidity of them is beyond belief, and some of the stuff that's getting sold is just laughable. Now, what I'll probably do is every episode I'll give you an example of one that's caught my eye for whatever reason, whether it's the seller or the product. Now, this week,
usually it's both.
It can be. It certainly can be. But this week, it's specifically the product. Now, I'm going to lump in this product with all products of its type. Now, when it starts kind of getting towards a special occasion, say Christmas, which is coming up quite soon. It could be Valentine's Day. It could be Easter. It could be anything. See if you're on Marketplace and you have an idea to yourself that starts with, I'm going to sell hampers with. Stop yourself right there. Stop yourself and have a good fucking think about how you've lived your life to this point, right? Nobody wants hampers from you. If somebody wants a hamper, they'll go to a shop and they'll get a nice hamper. I saw a hamper for sale. I'm going to keep saying hamper. Justin Molotnikov. I'm going to keep saying hamper. And I'm going to say hamper so much that you're never going to want to buy one again. But I seen a hamper the other day. It's £15 they were wanting for this hamper. Full of noodles. Right? Was it at least high-end noodles, Jordan? No, they're for B&M bargains and they cost 27 fucking pence a pack, right? So this is Coca noodles. Don't get me wrong, as far as cheap noodles go, they are the boss.
They are class.
And I love them. I used to eat them all the time when I was fat. I used to eat them all the fucking time. I would eat these Coca noodles, specifically the spicy stuff.
Mate, I've got hundreds of them there.
Oh, don't tell me that. I'll come and fucking...
You put me onto them. You put me onto them in your house.
They're so
Mate,
good, man. For 20 odd pence a pack, you can't beat it.
No,
but when somebody tries to sell me,
I'm buying the hamper.
mate, no, you won't. And do you know why? I'll tell you why not. Because it's £15. £15 for about £3 worth of noodles. And the reason they can charge £15 is because they put £1.20 worth of fucking cardboard and plastic in it. It's like, congratulations. Oh, I'm so skilled. I can sell. You know what it is? It's some stupid, but you know what, Sharon? You should sell them. That's a great idea. Nobody else is doing that. There's a reason nobody else is doing it, because it's fucking stupid. Stop it. Please stop it now before I do something I'm going to regret again.
Like, buy it.
I might buy it. I might actually go to the house, pay them the money, and then just jump on it on their doorstep. I think that's worth the £15. So if you're thinking about making hampers with anything, I don't care what it is, stop it. Just enough. Enough is enough. M&S do good hampers.
What about the hampers that are like sweetie hampers? They're pretty good. I know a woman that makes cakes and stuff, and she's probably going to do all that stuff.
Why?
Because hampers are like a variety of different things, and they're packaged and presented so well.
I could do that myself. So if I wanted, there's this amazing thing, right? See, if I want a variety of stuff, I can go to this place called a shop, right? And I can buy a wee variety of things that I want. And I don't even need to wrap them up in a nice wee presentation set because it's for myself.
Well,
I mean,
here's the thing, though.
you're never going to convince me on ham.
There are so many people that could do things, but we buy it anyway. Like, look at grated cheese. People pay extra to get the cheese grated already in a bag when they could just grate it themselves. I don't, but there's a market for that, man. I'm getting into the business.
That's why people are fat now. Because they're too lazy to even use enough calories to grate their own fucking cheese. We need to start grating our own cheese and just making our own stuff and keeping it to ourselves. Stop trying to sell your shite, right? Nobody's interested anymore. That is it for this week's Marketplace Madness.
Join us next week.
On a wee side note, I got a 24-hour Facebook ban recently.
Was that due to something on the Marketplace?
No, it was hate speech. No, what it was an article on Facebook about, it was somebody in Coronation Street had said in the show, like it was in the show, they had called somebody a Scottish git. Now, I was not offended by it, right? I don't get offended by stuff. Scottish git, there's so many worse things you could say to somebody, right? So, people are up in arms about this, like complaining to Ofcom and everything about her using this term Scottish git. So me, trying to be funny, and to be honest, I think it was funny, I said, that's the most shocking racism I've ever heard, silly English bitch. Ha 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 ha. Clearly a joke. Clearly, you can actually see the context in it. You know, there's one of the rare occasions where the context is there, right? And I got reported for it, and under hate speech for making a joke, and it was only about English people.
And you got banned for 24 hours. It was hilarious.
Do you know what? That's the funny thing. It was the longest 24 hours of my life. It was like a night in the jail.
It was Facebook jail, mate.
Do you know, like I was annoyed about it at first. Then I found it funny. I was like, this is the type of stuff that is getting people cancelled. So it was nice knowing you, YouTube.
It was nice to be appreciated that they felt they needed to cancel me.
Exactly. That's a good point, actually. It's like, if you're important enough for folk to want to cancel you, you've done well.
Well, the aim here is to not get cancelled. And
listen, in case you haven't worked this out, I have no animosity towards anybody unless you're a dick, right? There's not a race of dicks, right? So just don't be a dick, and you and I will get on fine. Mm-hmm. I didn't mean what I said. It was clearly a joke. It had laughy faces on it and everything. It's like, I need to make sure the morons know that this is a joke, because somebody might misconstrue that and get me a 24-hour ban.
Did you just say morons?
Oh. Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry.
All the morons are going to be offended and you're going to be cancelled. So,
did you ever see that picture for America, and it was a guy holding up a Trump sign? He's like he is our president, morons, and it was spelled MORANS. Here's our president, moron.
Hey. So this brings us to our main topic here today. We asked you guys on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Make sure to follow us there at Jibber Jabber Podcast. We asked you guys, what do you dislike about the way movies are made today, as opposed to how they were made like 10 years ago? And we got a variety of different answers, but we'll start with our own answers. So I'll kick this off, right? So what really kind of gets to me, it doesn't get to me, I don't lose sleep over it. I'm not going to sign a petition to get somebody cancelled, right? But what I would like if movies today, and some do, but majority don't, see when there's a bad guy in the movie, I'd like the bad guy to be a bad guy. Like, give us an actual bad guy. They used to do this. I mean, Voldemort, as much as people can say, oh, he never killed a kid, did slit Snape's throat, right? He did do some bad stuff. He did kill Robert Pattinson, right? He did kill a kid. He just didn't kill the kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So these kind of bad guys, like for example, that house with the clocks in the face. What's it with the Jack Black? What?
The house with the clock in its walls.
Is that what it is? Aye.
Yeah, it's a stupid title anyway. I think your title was probably better.
Well, I was really looking forward to that.
The house with a clock in its face.
Well, I was really looking forward to that. And then I watched it and I thought, wow, they're building up this big bad guy. He's been gone for several years and he returns to kill. killed nobody. His first out and he got killed off a fucking child, man. Kind of bad guy's that?
Yep. There has to be a strong feeling of threat, dread, and there has to be something in the film that makes you go, fuck, man, this is a real baddie. Going back to Doctor Sleep.
Yeah.
For those of you who haven't seen it yet, here's a spoiler. There's at one point in that film where on screen they full out murder a child, right? And it's highly unpleasant to watch.
It's not even like they just like sweep them to the side. They get stabby.
Yeah, they get stabbed. Don't get me wrong, it's not particularly graphic. You do see some blood spray onto the face, but other than that, it's no graphic. It's just really suggestive and
Repetitive.
It's fucking horrible. Like I know a guy that I work with, Big Graham. He's one of these guys. He talks like this. Everyone's dead quiet. He's like, oh, John, I've watched that fucking Doctor Sleep. He's like, nearly had to fucking turn it off. And it's one of these kind of moments where it's one of these situations where if you've got children, you feel really differently about a scene like that. Like I could have watched that 10 years ago and it probably wouldn't have affected me that much. But when you've actually got kids, I mean, you'll know, five times as much as I do, that it does change your perspective on things. Like even like when you see videos kicking about, I don't know, it could pop up on TikTok or something with somebody blowing their head off. And it could be a grown man, he might be in his 40s, but I can't stand seeing that stuff because in my mind I always go, that's somebody's kid, and it's fucked up. I don't want to see that stuff. And when you see a kid getting killed on screen, you go, well, that is a baddie.
But look at that emotional connection you have to the movie because of that. You don't think that, for me, like when I walk out, this is something for me, right? When a movie finishes, I want to talk about it. I want to feel like I want to talk about it. Mate, you need to see this movie. I want to feel like that after watching a movie. And I get you're not going to get that with every movie you watch, but when you do, it's for these reasons, because it has to be it has to tell a story, and the story should be true to the story, and not how do we not offend people? How do we do this? I think this is just my opinion, right? But if I had a script and I looked at the script and I go, right, this happens, and this happens, I would just make it an 18 rather than taking out the things that make it an 18 and turn it a PG, because it defeats the story a little bit. Do you know what I mean? I think the story has to stay true to what it is, the way it was written. Because, I mean, every story is different. Look at that movie, A Quiet Place, right? The bad guy in that, the bad thing. No discrimination. It is, you know what the threat is. So whenever someone goes, straight away, when you're on your couch watching that, you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
That's you invested. You're invested in that story. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that for me is what it's all about, is that investment in a movie. If you can turn to your phone and look at it and flick through Facebook while something's on, you might as well turn it off. It's lost.
That's true. And it's something that we might talk about on another episode, but people's lack of appreciation for film now is fucking disgusting. Just when it comes to, like, they'll go to the cinema and get their phones out halfway through the film and stuff. Even be on the phone, like talking to people halfway. It's like, come on. Anyway, that's for a later episode. But I'm totally with you on the bad guy thing. One of the worst bad guys I ever seen was, I'm pretty sure it was Quantum of Solace. Dominic Green. I mean, listen to that fucking name, Dominic Green. He sounds like a prefect.
He sounds like somebody that's going to sell you punishment exercises that are already done.
Aye, it does. Dominic Green, and his big Bond villain scheme was to steal some water. It's like, well done. But then you've got a proper bad guy, like fucking what was his name in Skyfall?
Is that
it was Javier Bardem that played him. God, I can't remember. Big gay blonde hair guy. He was a proper baddie. Like, really kind of scary bad guy. I like that. So I'm 100% with you on that. My particular issue is with probably action films for the most part, and their complete lack of ability to film anything not in close up.
I find as well that it's always fast paced. You don't know. You'd be as well not watching it and just going,
You don't
5 hours
know.
later. You know what I mean?
See, unless it's like a kind of old martial arts film where the good guys in white, the bad guys in black, you do not know who the fuck is hitting who anymore. You don't know who's jumping from one thing to the other. It's just a big mishmash of shaky cam crap. Now, shaky cam, it can work, but it has to be done right, and it's very, very rare that it's done right. One of the kind of most prominent aspects of it getting done quite well was in the Bourne movies. In the Bourne movies, they actually did it quite well.
The Bone movies?
Bourne, aye.
Born.
Bourne.
Yeah, he was saying Bone.
The Bourne Identity.
The Born.
It's the same fucking thing.
The Bone Identity. Mate,
Right.
you've been watching stuff on Pornhub.
Is it Born or
Pornhub.
Born?
Right, yes. Is it Bone or Born? I think Bone. I think the Bone Identity is the one you've been watching, you know.
Born Identity.
Born.
That's what I've been. Born. Ah, fuck yourself. That film did it quite well, but still a bit too much at times. But there's some movies where you cannot make out a fucking thing. I miss the days like look at Bruce Lee's movies where everything was done in wide shots because they couldn't afford to be filming shot after shot of close-ups and stuff like that. Everything was shot wide. You could see the actors that were doing it. Everybody knew what they were doing. People had to be in a certain place for the camera to pick it up, and it was all so well choreographed. There's one particular scene in Fist of Fury, Bruce Lee's second kind of major martial arts film that he did in Hong Kong. There's a scene where he fights against an entire martial arts school, and he kicks 8 guys kind of one after the other in sequence, all in different ways, all coming from different directions, and it's one shot from above, and he actually does hit a few of them. You can tell that a few of them kind of run into his feet, and it's fucking funny, but you appreciate it for what it is. It had to be done perfectly that one time.
Do you think maybe the reason we don't have that kind of shot anymore is because we don't have guys like Bruce Lee, like aspiring actors come in with the acting background and maybe not the martial arts background? Do you think that's maybe a thing of the past? They're not encouraged to come in as martial artists? Because, you know, like now if someone comes in with a martial arts background, oh, you'd make a good stuntman. There's not actually that push of a martial artist actor like Jean-Claude Van Damme. You know what I mean? That kind of thing's a thing of the past.
I think unfortunately it has become a thing of the past now. There's, like you said a wee while ago, that martial arts films as such don't really happen anymore unless they're straight to DVD or straight on the streaming services, and they're all shite. Nobody knows how.
King of the Kickboxer is the best thing I've seen in a long time.
You were not to win the fight tonight.
Oh!
Oh man, that's so funny. We will do a deep dive on that one.
Mate, we will.
So actually, speaking of deep dive, very quickly, you might notice this background here. This is not going to be the background for the entirety of my time on this channel. This background will be changing next week. My garage conversion is almost complete. I'm at the stage where it's getting painted now. That's going to be a fully fledged man cave home cinema. That's where I'm going to be filming from next week. You might see this thing. That'll be there, and that fucking beast will be there. And I'm sure Big Arnie will be making it in there as well. There's also a King Kong poster up there. Now, this is all going to be in the cave. So this is basically my wife's walk-in cupboard right now. This will change.
And not only that, on top of that, the deep dive will return. For those of you that have been following us for the last 2 years, deep dive will return, and when it does, it'll be shot in stunning 4K with us in person. And it'll be multicam, perfect lighting. It'll be like something for a YouTube series. So look forward to that. And follow us on all social media, jibberjabberpodcast.com, Jibber Jabber Podcast across all platforms. You can see it all at the bottom. At the bottom, you can see all of our tags where you need to go. Follow us, and you can be selecting what we watch for a Jibber Jabber deep dive and what we talk about. Back to what you were saying.
Back to what I was saying. Yeah, so they need to start understanding that we as an audience have to be able to see what's going on to actually get invested in what we're watching. Stop with the shaky cam. Stop with the fucking close-ups with everything. Show us some wide shots again. I want to see some wide shots when it comes to action, and I want to see an explosion that's not CGI.
Yeah, it takes you out. It kind of does take you out at the moment when you see people fighting, and it's just all it is people running past people hitting your ear, and it's And for me, I'm like, oh, skip forward. It's the same way, and I'll even go there. Sometimes with Star Wars, right? There's too much going on. There's too much going on, right? Just slow it down.
I think it seems to be reflective of people's pace of life nowadays. Everybody's got so many things going on at one time. Nobody gets a minute to themselves. Everybody has to work. Used to be that there was one parent had to work, and that was good times. We're fucking way beyond that. Life's got too complicated, and so has our entertainment that's supposed to take us away through all that shit. Let's get back on a nice linear storylines, coherent. I'm fucking fed up with Christopher Nolan for exactly that reason. The guys, these films are just pretentious now. Fuck me, I don't care. Just enough. Just tell a good story without having to jump back and forward and play with fucking time and space. That as well. That's a different issue altogether. Just I want to see what's happening, and I want to know what's happening as I see it. I don't want to have to try and figure it out later.
Did you have any more, or will I go to the comment section?
No, go to the comment section. Obviously, you guys have been getting in touch via Facebook to kind of give us
Instagram, Twitter, many places
to follow us.
Exactly, so and thank you for following us. Thank you.
Aye, let's hear some of them, Kevin.
Aye, so we got Joshy Russell. Was it actually Joshy? No, it wasn't he? It wasn't he? He just looks like Joshy Russell. So we got same beard in it. So we got Kyle Martin via Instagram, and he said the lack of making the protagonist someone worth rooting for or generally liking in a lot. Big budgets now. So yeah, he's basically saying the main protagonist, if you don't connect or live vicariously through that character, then you don't really give a fuck about the rest of the movie. I agree with that, because what was the movie I actually watched? It was Rogue One, actually. It was Star Wars Rogue One. Now, I enjoyed that movie, right? But there comes a point, now, by the way, spoiler alert, fast forward 20 seconds if you don't want to know, but if you've not watched it by now, then you deserve the spoiler. They all die at the end. All the goodies die right at the end, right? And do you know what? I kind of saw it coming, and I thought, do you know what? I'm happy with that. I didn't feel like Jen Erso is the main character, and as much as these characters were all cool, I didn't feel like for me it was Rogue One was a really cool piece where they tie up a lot of loose ends that Star Wars had left. So, for example, how was it so easy to destroy the Death Star just by shooting into one wee hole? Because Jen Erso's dad was forced to make the Death Star and thought this thing's going to destroy everything and be so fucking OP that I need to create a weakness and tell someone about it. And I'll write these wee plans to tell someone about it. And then right at the very end of Rogue One, those plans get handed to Princess Leia, which is the start of A New Hope. Right? So this is why I love that stuff, right? But the movie itself felt like filler, well told filler, and I think it deliberately made it to the point where I wasn't like, oh no, they're all dead. No, I was like, all right, they're all dead. That makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
So you just had no investment with the characters.
And I think that was done deliberately.
They were basically tools to move a story along.
They absolutely were. But don't get me wrong. All the actors' performances were brilliant, and the characters were cool. And it would be cool to see, because the Star Wars universe now is so big, it would be cool to see them show up in other things. But their demise was part of the bigger story, and I'm all for it.
Yeah.
So would you agree, though? Would you agree that, off the top of your head, give me something where the protagonist wasn't good enough for you to stay invested? And don't say Ouija Shark.
It's just a little-known film with Henry Cavill and Bruce Willis called The Cold Light of Day. Awful film. It was predictable. It was predictable. Yeah, that was the first issue I had with it. But I just didn't care. I did not care about the main character and his plight and his journey. I had no fucking interest. Also, it was so predictable that I used to have the Cineworld pass where you go and see as much as you want for $14.99 a month. It was fucking great. I lived in Glasgow at the time, and
remember that was back before lockdown when you could do
this. Yeah, I remember cinemas. They're fucked. So I remember I turned to my mate I was with, Ali, and he will testify to this. I turned to him a good number of times during the movie and told him what the next line of dialogue was going to be.
Wow.
It was that predictable.
Wow.
So you had predictable storyline and a character you did not give a fuck about. And when you don't give a fuck about your character, you're going to lose. Like, think about, could you imagine watching Die Hard if you didn't care what happened to John McClane?
No. I think that's...
It's such an important aspect in making a good film, whether it's an action film or a drama or anything, you have to care about the protagonists.
That's so true. And I think that's probably one of the better submissions that we had. That was a good one. We have one here as well from Colette Welsh. That's Scott, our homeboy. That's his missus. Well, she says crappy remakes as an issue, and you know what? I totally agree with that. Now, let me just elaborate a bit on the crappy remake thing, right? I watched an interview once with John Carpenter, who says he got into movie making because he wanted to make westerns, but he ended up making a movie called Halloween because he was asked to come up with something that was horror. He thought, okay, well, I'll do that, and that'll fund my westerns.
Yeah.
Turns out he was shit hot at horror, right? So they were like, nah, and it became his thing. So on a Q&A panel where he was like, right, ask me anything. Someone asked him, what did you think of the remake of Halloween? He was like, it was fucking shite. And then they were like, what do you think of remakes in general? And he's like, well, I don't like them, to be honest, but I understand why they do them. And the reason that apparently these big studios will do it is because to take a script that is unknown and new, you're taking a gamble on whether or not this will sell or not. Because at the end of the day, movies for you and I, movies are... they're a hobby, they're an interest, they're a passion, right? But for the studios, it's a business. It's money, right? So they take a brand new original script and go, right, well, we don't know how this is going to work, right? Or we get someone to rewrite something that already has an established fan base, right? You don't need to put as much into marketing when it's an established remake than what you do when it's something that's never seen the light of day. Because if you're going to have to promote something that's unheard of, that's money. But if it's Pet Sematary, if you're going to remake Pet Sematary, there's a fan base there that will come to see it because of what it is. Doesn't matter. All they need to see is a teaser. All they need to see is an article that says this is being remade, and they're there. Their money's already bought.
See, it doesn't matter. Sorry. I don't know why I said it doesn't matter. I'm not saying, and I don't think that all remakes are bad. There are some excellent remakes out there that have been better than the original. It's fucking rare, but it does happen. But ironically,
name one.
You mentioned John Carpenter. Mate, he did The Thing, which is a fucking remake.
I suppose.
So that's the most ironic thing in the world. That he thinks that, but what he did with The Thing was very much improving it. But that's just because the original, basically a victim of its time. It came out in the 50s. The whole alien thing was, every film that was coming out was about aliens, but special effects were just nothing back then. So it came to a point where he thought, right, I can do something with this now. So that's a bit different. So the Thing was one. Let me just rack my brains for a second for another one.
I really liked the Pet Sematary. I'll not shy away for that. That was a good remake.
It was all right, and they changed things about it to kind of make it.
That's what I loved about it. See, if you're going to, this is one thing I would say, and if it was handed to us, here's a script of an original, right? We know the original. I would take it and put my own stamp on it because the audience are there for the familiarity of what they know, right? But play about with it, because I was like this to my wife. Watch this. This is where we Gage gets smashed. She was like, "Aye." I was like, "What? What? Fucking."
see, like it's one area where it's a bit ambiguous is really actually when it comes to movies getting made from books, because that first original movie is already a remake. It's a remake of the book. So I think when it comes to remaking movies that have already been made, but based on a book, you've actually got a bit more leeway. Like look at the new It movies that came out. I mean,
they were brilliant.
They far surpassed the one for 1990. But again, that one was just a victim of its time.
Miniseries,
and basically having a very small budget based on what they had to do. I mean, the new one it was mega bucks. It had fucking blockbuster money.
Yeah,
So,
you can also check out the archives. We have had Brandon Crane from the new It Part 2. He was also in the original It. He played. Why have I forgot? But he played Ben Hanscom. Yeah, he played Ben Hanscom. He's been on this show, and also John Campopiano, who was the director of the Pet Cemetery documentary and also the upcoming It documentary, which you need to go and check out.
I think he's kind of suffered for the same thing that we have.
Yeah,
the documentary's been postponed.
Yes,
due to COVID being an absolute cunt.
Yeah, but you can go back in the archive.
I mean it.
You can check out the previous episodes. It was really nice to have those guys on.
Yeah, both really good conversations.
And it was a brilliant remake. I like both parts.
Yeah, I mean, there is something to be said for remakes, and they can be done right. But if you're not gonna make an effort, don't fucking bother. But I think that again, that goes back to what you're saying. It is people that don't want to make an effort that are making them for the most part.
I think at that point with Pet Cemetery, right? At that point where Gage didn't die, spoiler alert. At that point where Gage didn't die, I thought, right, now they've opened up. Now I know that they're fucking wet. I'm not sitting here like, oh, I've seen this. It's just updated. I was like, oh, we're doing other stuff. It kept me like invested. Oh, we're doing other things. What else is new? Do you know what I mean? I think it's really good to do that. Take something, right? And if you're going to remake it, re-envision it. Don't just remake it. Re-envision it.
Exactly. And that's, again, it's an easy pitfall to fall into, especially if you're a new filmmaker and you're trying to put a stamp on something. Don't do a remake. You need to do something. Speaking from experience, like, you need to do something original. Otherwise, you're going to fall into that cesspit of directors that never became anything.
Yeah. Scott Kempick, that's our homeboy. He said piss poor CGI / reboots. So he agrees obviously with what his missus said, which is correct. Piss poor CGI. I don't think. Do you know what? See, personally, CGI doesn't. I'm not bothered about if it's practical or not. I'm not going to lie and say that the practical stuff isn't fucking really amazing, because it is. But CGI doesn't offend me. It doesn't bother me as much as it would someone like yourself.
It does bother me. I've got issues with where they use it. See, it used to be that doing CGI was fucking difficult. It was difficult. Like, look at Terminator 2. Terminator 2, that was state of the art CGI.
Still was good though.
And it still holds up today to a certain extent. There's a few things where you go, ooh, but for the most part, it's actually pretty decent. The problem is that it's got so easy to do now that people use it for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah,
they've started using it because it's cheaper than filming in real locations. So they get, instead of actually paying a permit to film in a city and actually create jobs, and they'll go, oh no, fuck that, we'll save money, we'll just CGI a city. Yeah, it's like no, it takes me out of it.
Who was it that was on our show and told us that it was amazing because they were on a set and they went up to an actual set that was built and it was a castle? Who was that? Because it slipped my mind, but I remember someone saying that they were so used to being on a set and it was all green screen that they actually went to a set and it was all built up and it was an actual castle, and they were like, wow, this is mental. Because I think it was Stephen McCall.
Was it Stephen?
Yeah, because he was saying that it was the first. I'm sure it was Stephen.
I don't remember that with Stephen. I mean, it could have been one of the Game of Thrones guys. It could have been Sam Coleman or Ian McElhinney or something like that. I don't know. We'll need to. Actually, why don't you guys go and listen to our entire archive and find out for us? Stick it in the comment section, and I will send you a fucking t-shirt.
Gee, Mike, you're getting better at this. So I would agree. CGI. I mean, if it's cost effective, fair enough. In the climate, you have to kind of take into account we're semi not in that kind of that industry. We're nowhere near in that industry as to where we could kind of comment on what that would be like. But I suppose if you and I were making something and we've got a budget and we're like, well, CGI is going to cost you this and the practical stuff's going to cost you this, we're going to go with CGI. But I think the detail in that is, as long as the story's perfect, you'll forgive the CGI.
So it's good. it's got to be right. I mean, there has been times where I've seen it and it's worked to the point where I haven't known it was CGI until after. One film that did that really well was the film Zodiac, which it was set in the 70s, and there was a few scenes where they basically they were on a real street, but they put a massive green screen up and they digitized a background, and you had no idea. And this was a while ago. I think Zodiac came out in 2004. 7 maybe, something like that, 2008. Excellent film if you haven't seen it, fucking really good. But I didn't know, and when I don't know, I don't care. But it's so obvious a lot of the time as well, and it's got no excuse to be bad now. That's another issue. It's got no excuse unless you're watching a sci-fi channel movie. It's got no excuse to be bad.
Yeah.
If you can't do it right, don't fucking do it.
Exactly. We have another submission here from Jack Logan. He says, by the way, his you should go and check out JL Productions on YouTube. He does the Whitburn? What is it? The Whitburn?
It's like a Whitburn tourism.
Yeah, and he's done a second one.
He did this a long time ago. Has he done a new one?
He done a sequel to it, and it was funny. I found it really funny. I remember laughing, going, "Do you know what? We should film them with him. Like we should go and up his production." And let him.
That sounded offensive.
No.
Production.
No, what I mean is like we should let him write his third one, and we should go with our stuff and have him direct us and just bring the quality up of what he's doing. And I don't know, maybe not, because the stuff that he does.
That'll be nice when the human race is allowed physical fucking contact again.
For sure. But so Jack Logan says, I have nothing against action / superhero movies. A lot of them I really like, but I hate when filmmakers think they can just jam-pack a film full of explosions and call that action. You still need to have good storyline for me.
Yeah, it goes back to kind of what I was saying about things I hate about movies is just too much going on. Like in fact, you said it, too much going on, far too much going on. It was one of the things where, like, take Avengers Endgame for example. The final kind of battle scene was just bananas.
Yeah,
it was crazy, and I don't know. I feel biased because I'm not a huge superhero guy. I got really fed up with them. Every fucking second film that was coming out was a superhero. A superhero film used to be a treat. You used to get one every few years, and it was something to look forward to. Now I look forward to something that's not a superhero film.
Yeah.
But
Brightburn was great though. I like Brightburn. It was the anti-hero.
Actually, the end of it I liked, but it was showing you the news footage, all these kind of bad aliens kicking about. I thought it was a good way to start something, but I think the film itself was actually pretty fucking dull. Yeah. Well. But that's me. But yeah, totally agree with you, Jack. I'll take a Few Good Men over Avengers any day of the week.
Sounded
the movie,
like you. That sounded like you wanted to be spit roasted, man. So
I'm not saying I don't, but I won't say it on the show.
Yeah. So this concludes our main topic. So we have another wee segment here that is going to interchange every single week. So we're kicking it off here with me, and it's called Movie Mouthful. And what happens is J-Mac will ask me a question about something to do related to movies, TV series, and I've got to answer the whole time while eating what I'm eating, a cake of some sort, and I've just to kind of answer his question while eating.
Yeah, just to pre-warn you, if you're only listening to this, it's going to sound disgusting. If you're watching it, it's going to be fucking hilarious.
And this is exactly why you need to go to youtube.com and check out Jibber Jabber podcast, hit the subscribe button, and watch this, because it's going to be quite fun. So my cake of choice today, J-Mac, are you ready? Here we go. And you can tell everybody at home that's only listening to this show what I've got.
McGee's Family Bakers, and that to me looks like a chocolate eclair or something.
Mate,
yum yum.
Couldn't be more right.
It is a chocolate eclair.
Mate, fucking ask me a question.
Are we talking the whole thing at one time?
Well, I'm gonna like eat it to my mouth's full and talk.
Okay.
And then eat until it's all gone.
So here we go on this week's on this week's segment of Movie Mouthful, I'm going to ask Kevin. Kevin, what is your favourite childhood movie and why? You just ate that. You just swallowed it.
It's hard, no. Right, so
favourite childhood film and why?
my favourite childhood movie. Well, there's loads. Can I just pick one?
Yeah.
Right. So one of my favourite childhood movies, right, is a movie called Dennis. It was based on Dennis and Menace, right? It's got me some Gamble in it. It's got me some Gamble in it, right? Christopher Lloyd, who we met. Basically, Mason Gamble's. Oh, it's got Water Matthew in it as well. So, Water Matthew plays Mr. Wilson. Right? He's a neighbour who can't be fucked with Dennis, right? Because he's been a wee prick. Anyway, as always, hold on to a second, a bite.
Right, don't chew it. Just keep it in there. The whole
As
thing.
always, right?
The whole thing.
Right, okay. I don't know true. So, as always, I come up with the awful out, right? What happens is, it's hard, man. I'm swallowing it automatically.
I bet it's not the first time. Put that full thing in, man. Come on, finale.
Is that the first time you said that to the boys? Right, let's go back to them, right? So, he falls out in this Wilson, right? But then he goes to look for him. Christopher Lloyd's got him, right? And Christopher Lloyd's got him. He's like, oh no! So we go look for him. But Dennis, it's actually fucking mental. And he fights with Christopher Lloyd. And then he comes back, right? He comes back. And everybody's happy again. They made a second one called Dennis Strikes Again. They were new
Right.
good. But for me, that was one of them, man. I had it on tape.
Well, that is why our parents told us never to fucking chew with our mouth open.
Aye, man, that was
And
grilling.
speak with your mouth full. So thanks very much for that, Kevin. It'll be my turn next week.
Oh, that
And
tasted good.
I hope so. It looked like it was nice.
Mate,
Even after you chewed it. And so that has been the movie Mouthful, and that is the end of our YouTube debut show.
It is.
So thanks very much for tuning in.
if
There's
you've
going to be
stayed-
a lot more to come, so keep your eyes open. And Kevin, do your bit.
Aye, man. If you stayed for that full episode, you're a fucking rock star, man. J-Mac's going to buy a t-shirt.
J-Mac's not.
I can edit that shit out again. Nah, I'm only kidding.
No, you're not.
So, if you stayed, thanks, guys. We will be doing a lot of crazy stuff, funny stuff on the show, as well as talking about other than most recent topics, movies and stuff. It's been class that you guys joined us. If you are just listening and not watching us, do check out our YouTube, because like I said, there's some funny stuff. John's wearing a hat. He never wears a hat, and he's sitting there wearing a hat. He's showing me why. He's showing me why. Know what you look like? Go back to that again. Let's see.
Mate, I look like a sex trafficker in Taken.
You've got the same forehead as fucking, what's his name? Frankenstein.
It's really starting to go grey now as well.
You look like you've died Utopia. But yes, guys, thanks very much for tuning in. And we will see you next week for another episode like this. Make sure you follow us on all the social platforms. You can email us at Jibber Scotland.
I'll do this one. jibberjabberscotland@gmail.com.
Yep. So if you have any requests, anything you want to chat about, just smack an email there. Yeah, thanks very much for checking us out.
And also tell your friends if you liked it.
Yeah, and tell us if you liked it. Leave us a review, man. That puts us up in the charts.
Yeah.
I'm never chatting.
We need to get charting again. We were charting for a while, a long time ago.
Yeah.
We need to get back up there, and we can only do it with you guys. So
Exactly.
keep coming back, and we'll keep giving you this second to none content.
Exactly. Thanks, guys. Take it easy.